All right, and we are back in the lobby bar for the week of October the 9th, 2023. Brian and Michaela here with you as always. And Michaela, you and I took a bit of a trip over the weekend. We had some friends getting married just outside of Louisville, Kentucky. I hope I'm saying that right. Apparently I was saying it wrong. Louisville is incorrect. Louisville is more correct, I guess. But one thing we can all agree on about Louisville, they've got some bourbon, pretty good.
They've got some pretty good bourbon in Louisville. I don't know. I think there's a phlegm thing that needs to happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Louisville. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that place that we were at for the wedding, that was amazing. They pro tip for anybody getting married, have like your pre-wedding party, have your like rehearsal dinner, not even at a restaurant, just have it at a distillery like
Yeah.
these rock stars did, because that was a great idea. We went to a place called Jeptha Creek. It is in Shelbyville. I want to say Shelbyville, but I think that's
Mm.
probably I'm on the wrong side of the Mason-Dixon line, I think, to say it quite like that. But it's in Shelbyville. It's amazing. It has the most amazing space for like groups and things. But even more
Mm-hmm.
amazing than their space is their tasting that you can do. And I think it's actually a free tasting. You do have to make reservations. So I think you can do that at like jepthacreed.com. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we are not sponsors. We could be Jeptha
Could,
Creed.
could be, yeah, because their bourbon selections were excellent. Your husband and then you and I went and we did a little bit of a bourbon tasting there. You might remember if you've been listening along with the lobby bars about the about Thanksgiving time last year. My wife and I went to Louisville to kind of the Bourbon Trail, which is kind of between like Frankfort and Louisville there in Kentucky, kind of on that corridor there. We went and tasted some stuff, but these were all new to me. So we went into the tasting. That was excellent. We did yeah, kind of these the four bourbon offerings that they had, and then they had a bar there, so we were able to have a couple of cocktails. And I just wanted to make mention of one of the ones that I was a big fan of, Michaela. I know we sampled a couple of these, so maybe you want to pick out one to talk through here as well. But I had one. It was called the Boo Radley, and it was their bottled and bond rye bourbon, Chinar Amaro, and a cherry liqueur. Now, Chinar, if you don't know what that is, that's actually like an artichoke liqueur, which is very interesting. It's very like bitter and herbal. I've actually had like Negronis made with that as opposed to Campari, and it just gives it I don't want to say it's like vegetal, but it's kind of that like
Yeah.
earthy like artichoke-ness to it. And that was really nice. It was kind of with the cherry and then the artichoke and the rye, it was nice because you had the spice from the rye, a little bit of like
Hmm.
earthiness, and then that dark kind of richness of the cherry. So it was a really good kind of, I don't know, like riff on, I don't know, like an old fashioned kind of, but it was just very umptuous. So I do like if you're making one of those at home, I'd probably do like 2 ounces of the bourbon and then maybe like a half ounce of each the Chinar and the cherry liqueur, and go that route. That was really good. That was the Boo Radley, and like I said, we had a couple of these. They had a bunch of different riffs on old fashions. I've heard from other distilleries that I've been to in the area that kind of the old fashioned is like the standard if you're just going to go out and have a cocktail to get like the expression of the bourbon. The old fashioned is the way to go. And Jeptha Creed here had a bunch of those on offer, but they had some other stuff too, Michaela. You had a couple things. Was there anything that stood out to you?
So they had a really lovely Bloody Mary that featured their hot pepper vodka, which sounds as delicious as it was. In fact, I'm not a huge Bloody Mary girl. I like it, but usually in the morning after I've been drinking the whole night is when I like it best. And so I took a sip. I took a taste of the vodka before I took a taste of the Bloody Mary. That somebody else was actually making one, and so they let me have a little sample, and that was great. I think that their moonshine tasting is probably the
Mm.
tip top of the mountain for me. If you go there and you are interested in a flight, they have a moonshine flight that is amazing. They have an apple pie, they have a cinnamon, they have a lemonade. They have their regular moonshine, which basically tastes like water. Be real careful with that one because that one doesn't taste like anything except fire. But they were really good. And so I had a couple of cocktails that actually used some of like the blackberry moonshine, and it with their vodka, and kind of created like a vodka smash kind of thing going on, and it
Mm.
was really tasty. But yeah, it was a really just that was a really fun experience, and it really makes me think that what we really need to do, Brian, is have and I keep saying this, we need to have like a traveling uh drink the music, drink the movies travel group that goes and
Yeah.
travels all over with us and tastes this stuff. We're gonna figure that out. I'm a big believer
Yeah.
that this has got to happen because
Yeah.
it was a lot
Yeah.
of fun. It was really cool to be able to do it together because
It
we don't
was.
get to taste all the things that we do together. So that was really nice.
Yeah, that was a really good time, and yeah, we were happy to go and celebrate the wedding for our mutual friends there, Jake and Karina. That was awesome. We had an excellent time, and the album that we chose this week actually has some kind of indirect ties to them, even though I didn't realize it at the time. But before we get into that album real quick, I wanted to make a reminder to everyone: it's time. It's the time has come, Michaela. We have to make our pumpkin spice simple syrup. You made one last year. I'm going to try my hand at making it this year, but I'm going to give it a wee bit of a twist here. So you can make it, of course, just your simple syrup, with some sugar, water, equal parts, and then some pumpkin pie spice, or just a combination of everything that comes in the pumpkin pie spice container. Cinnamon, nutmeg, all that stuff. You can do that. But what I'm going to do, Michaela, instead of just regular table sugar this year, I'm going with molasses. So equal parts molasses and water. Bring that up, so it all dissolves in. Do your pumpkin pie spice. I might scrape in a little bit of extra vanilla, too. I'm gonna have to taste it and see, but that sounds pretty good to me. I'm looking forward to having that in my coffee, for the rest of the year, no doubt. I think that sounds all right. But are you
Yeah.
on board here? Pumpkin pie
Oh
spice.
yeah.
It's that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's that time.
Darling, you had me at molasses. Let's do it. That sounds amazing. Why didn't we think of that last year?
I
That
know.
sounds so good. It's
You
gonna
have
be
to
like
walk before you can run to
that's right.
molasses.
Right. Well, I mean, it's gonna have that dark, like brown, buttery kind of just caramely to it. Oh, that's gonna be glorious. I can't wait.
That's right. So we're going to get some of that mixed up, and then we'll be back on the lobby bar next week, probably to do something with it that will be extra fun. So yeah, go ahead and get your syrup made up. If you have a syrup recipe you want to share with us, please do on any of the social medias, because we'd love to see it. We also love to see SAG-AFTRA strikes are still ongoing. They resume their talks today, so hopefully we're getting closer to being able to talk about a movie, because we went and saw a movie, and we would love to be able to talk about it with everyone. So get the deal done. Pay these actors what they're worth, what they're bringing to the table. Get it done. Get it done. That's the official stance here from Drink the Movies. The other official stance is that Dolly Parton is amazing. We talked about her last week when we covered Jolene. This week, as I mentioned, Michaela, we are talking about an album that has indirect ties to the wedding we were at. We actually met the bride of this couple at a concert for this artist, Beck. We're talking about Beck, Morning Phase. This week, I had no idea when I pitted that up in our Patreon poll, but I don't know. Beck has some hits as being kids from the 90s. We know those. We're talking about a newer album of the year. So that's pretty good. So are you looking forward to digging into Beck this week, Michaela?
Yes, I'm looking forward to some inner peace. It's been a very chaotic
Mm.
few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
personally and professionally in my life. So I'm looking forward to kicking back and listening to this atmospheric wonder that is arguably Beck's best album. Right, a lot of,
No.
and we'll talk all about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into that and just kind of sitting with my feelings and being. It's gonna be good.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, Beck won out this week in the Patreon poll over Cage the Elephant. So thank you to all the patrons who voted in that. So if you want to get your hands in on the voting action, extra bonus stuff, you can do that on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/drinkthemovies. Go there for all the bonus content. It's a great way to support the podcast. But I have a little bit of an announcement to make here, Michaela, is that we're not doing a Patreon vote this week. So still go check out Patreon. You should definitely do that. But because we're not doing a vote, we are doing a double feature. So we're going to be releasing an episode next week to our main feed, everyone listening to this right here, and a special episode for our Patreon patrons, because we've got kind of a I don't know, a double header, so to speak, featuring none other than Lindsay, Stevie, Christine, John, and Mick. You'll have to figure that out for yourselves out there. I'm guessing Michaela, from her face right now, she knows exactly who I'm talking about. So see if you can get that together. But yeah, going to be doing 2 episodes next week, one specifically for Patreon. So make sure you go and get signed up there if you're interested in, learning about these people who may or may not have comprised one of the greatest bands of all time. Fleetwood Mac. There you go. All right. So, spoiler over. Not a very good spoiler, I have to say. And that's going to do it for the lobby bar, Michaela. We are tired. That drive from Louisville was pretty rough yesterday, I have to say. So, we're going to do that. I'm going to make my pumpkin pie spice. We're going to talk about Beck, and then we'll talk to everyone next week in the lobby bar.